Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Tonight we are talking about relationships. So I'm going to be having my water with me, my coffee with me to keep me awake, and my water because I'm just really thirsty. I've just put it up today, my hair, because Lucas and I have been busy doing things. Still sorting things out with rooms, etc. Because we just let it go again. I say we, it was more me, but you know, I had earrings in all day, but they've kind of just, I took them out after a while. I did have beautiful makeup on, but I got really emotional today and had a bit of a mental breakdown. As you do sometimes in life, it happens. So pretty much this is going to be my new filming area for now. This room's going to get turned into an office for all of us to use, but this is my drawers, my stool that I'm sat on. I'm going to use this area as a vanity for when I'm doing my makeup and for times where I'm going to film. So, relationships. So, I am going to be discussing about all of the expectations the opposite sex has. So, the expectations that a man has for a woman, the expectations that a woman has for a man. We're going to cover all of it today. I really have been meaning to do this. We're going to be talking about first dates, answering questions that men and women are too afraid to ask the opposite sex, maybe the same sex. I have been meaning to do this and I've been putting it off and I don't even know why, but I'm really looking forward to doing this. So, let's get started. So, I've got the old phone here. I'm going to be reading off the questions and answering them, and then pretty much answering them as honestly as I can from my own experience and just in general stuff like that. So pretty much I've got my coffee, which is really good. It's too hot. On my placemat, it's so cute. I've got a bunch of those. Lucas's younger sister made a load of them, and they are so gorgeous. I love them. So let's start off with explaining the expectations. So let's start with what women expect from men. I feel like that'd be easier, not just because I'm a woman, but I have more female friends than I do male, and they all pretty much expect a lot from men, and it's been a hot topic in the family recently with discussions. So pretty much we're just gonna start with that. So I wrote a list on this, and I'm gonna read them out. Again, I'm not gonna say any names apart from that one time. I don't have to explain every time that I did do that. So pretty much the first one is, this woman expects the man to go to work whilst she stays at home and does all the housework. Now, that's one thing we're going to come to about the man at some point when it comes to housework. So, not only does she expect him to go to work and be the one earning the money, she expects him to earn more than her. She would feel disgusted, and it feels wrong of her to be the one to be earning either a similar amount of money or more. I am one of those. I don't care who earns more. as long as we're both happy and have the life that we want together, it doesn't bother me. But that is just me. That's genuinely how I feel. So I want to discuss that one first, because I feel like that's not just a hot topic at the moment. It's been a hot topic for a really long time, and I want to discuss that one first and pretty much just see what you guys think as well. So if you can put what you think in the comments below, that'd be really good. So all I want to say about this is, what going on from what I've just said, is the fact that it shouldn't matter who's earning more than the other person, as long as you're both happy. I just feel like if you're not happy, the right thing would be to sit down, talk about it, explain why you're not happy, what it actually is that's not making you happy, and what you can both do to deal with that. And that's one thing that I've struggled with the most, hence why you can probably tell that I've been crying, because where I got really emotional today, you know, and that plays a big part when you're naturally really emotional and you find it hard to express how you feel. That can be make it more difficult to sit down and discuss things and work things out. So I'm going to read more into this. Someone else is saying, I don't just expect him to be the one to go to work. I expect him to do all the heavy lifting, all of the DIY. I've done housework all day. Why should he expect me to be the one to do all of the DIY? For example, we had a new bed given the other day, because we needed a new one and the neighbour just gave it to us for free. But obviously it couldn't fit through the house, so we had to take it apart. Now, I wasn't prepared to do that. Her biggest worry was breaking a nail. I mean, it happens. Have you not broken your nail during any housework? I mean, I know I do all the time with the housework that I do, and it's very normal for that to be a thing. So why worry when it comes to DIY? Why do women feel that men have to be the ones that do the DIY? You know, I love DIY. I like to put things together. Lucas and I put the bed together. It was a bit stressful because it's a different type of bed that I haven't actually put together before. I built the bookshelf in the kitchen. I've put the toilet seat on, and at my mum's house I put the toilet seat on. I quite like it. I don't feel like a man has to do it. If I'm capable and I can do it myself, why should I still expect him to do something I'm capable of doing myself? I know we're a bit more relaxed. We're not so like it used to be these days, but there are still some women in there. Still some women around that still expect men to be this certain way, to do that certain thing, just because they don't feel it's their job to do it because they're a woman. And don't worry, I will say what men expect from women as well. Trust me, this is all going to be in this video. I am going to cover as much as I can. So, the next thing that women expect from men is another really, really common one. I mean, one that's been a popular subject, can I say, for just as long, probably longer. Maybe a long time, that's all I'm saying. a long time. So the next one is that women expect men to be the ones to propose to her. She's not going to propose to him. It's his job. He's got to do that. But if she wants to propose to him, she's got to be traditional. She's got to wait till there's a leap year. Why? If you love the man, you would do it because you love him. You know, what yeah, you love him, and you're doing it on that leap year, and you say, oh, I love him, so I'm gonna propose. But if you love him that bad, why wait till there's a leap year? Why couldn't you do it sooner? Why have we got to follow traditions? And I read a couple of other people saying that, oh, there's an interesting one. This woman saying here, I love my boyfriend. I've been with him for 5 years. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me. But I can't propose because it's not a leap year yet. And I've waited and waited for him to propose to me because he's supposed to. I like how she put supposed to with capital, they're supposed to in capital letters. I noticed that she's done that. Like, that point, she's gonna make that point. You know, she's put supposed to, but then she had to put it again in capital letters. She wants do you know where I'm getting at? And she's also gone further and said, not only has he supposed to, capital letters again, got in capital letters, got to be the one to propose, my family and me have always believed that it's his job to do that, and he should know better why he hasn't proposed to me already. It's starting to make me think whether he wants to be with me or not. Well, do you want to know the interesting thing? He's actually seen this. He's actually seen it. He's got back to her and he said, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. I love you so much. I do want to be with you. Marriage would be lovely one day. I'm just not ready for that yet. And you can't expect me to propose just because you're ready. And if you love me that much, you would want to propose because you love me. You wouldn't care about dates or traditions. You would just want to do it. And then he's put, if you carry on expecting me to be this or to do certain things, we're going to fall out. And he put ... and that's the last you heard from him. But then she responds, okay, she responds to this with, so that's your way of telling me that you're not wanting to marry me yet, which tells me you don't want me. And she put a load of crying emojis. Then there was no more. I mean, lots of other strangers started commenting their own thoughts on this. A lot of people were making a lot of assumptions, thinking that they were acting, that they were putting on a show, that none of this is true. Others have said, I bet they're just good friends, mucking about to get attention, to get views, to get people to comment on this. What do you think? What do you think about what's going on? Do you think they're just crying out for attention? Do you think they're even a couple? Do you think they're just friends? Do you think he will want to propose to her one day? Do you think that she'll ever just say, do you know what? I love him, I will propose. Is she even ready for marriage? Or does she feel like she has to get married to him because of her age? I know some women feel like they have to get married at a certain age. If they leave it too late, they instantly think they're too old for it. is that still a thing, or is that a thing of the past? We will get to that. That's actually next. So we discuss that in a minute. But let's read some questions. So this is in the comments going to what this woman had started, and started quite a stir. I mean, there's been a lot of comments. I can't read them all because there's been so many. But the first question that was asked, do you really love him? And do you actually take him seriously? Not just as a man, but as a human being. Right. So someone has gone in with their question. And I feel like this is a question that most men and women, or people in general, would be too afraid to ask. I don't know if it's something that me personally would ask, but I don't know. So, following on, I will read some of the answers that people have given. In fact, I can do that first. So, scrolling up. So, the first answer somebody has put... I don't think she actually loves him at all, because if she really loved him, she wouldn't hang her washing online. Okay, I just want to mention that some people like to vent, but some have decided, do you know what, I'm going to put it publicly, and have decided to make it public. You know, it's not the best approach, but it was their way of doing it, and I try not to judge. Yeah. So the way I would answer that question is the fact that you can't really answer. It's difficult to answer unless you really know that person. I can't say whether she actually really loves him or whether she doesn't really love him. It's a difficult one. I don't think I would really know what to say, apart from they need to sit down, talk, discuss what they want, what they don't want, whether they're actually ready for marriage or not. That is, we know that he's not ready for it yet because he's mentioned it in a comment, but she needs to ask herself, is she actually ready for this herself, or does she feel that she has to get married because of society and her age? You know, does she genuinely want it already? Bearing in mind, she is only 20 years old. Is it too soon to get married? Is it not? You know, it's... We don't know what's going through his head or her head. He could probably be at the stage where they've probably had this conversation that much. It's probably had him think, maybe we're not ready yet. And a part of me doesn't blame him. But then, what would you do in this situation? How is this conversation, what's being discussed right now, actually making you feel? Are you in this situation where you don't know if you're ready for marriage yet? You know, it's a very difficult one. And if you would want to know about me, I'm not ready myself yet. One day I would love to, but obviously I'm not ready for that yet. I just want to focus on me for a bit, as in me getting my new job, and you know, etc, etc. But I wouldn't want the thought of, am I at the right age or going to be too old? I don't want to worry about marriage right now with what I need to do right now. My priority is a new job. Marriage doesn't even come into the picture right now. But that's me on how I feel about, you know, if that was going on in my life. In case you're wondering, I am reading these off. I did a poll on Instagram. I don't know how many saw it, but it was on Instagram. So the next question relating to the same topic is asking him if he really loves and cares her enough to want to decide not only if he's ready, but if he's ever going to be ready. Because sometimes a woman can go on about it that much and drive their man up the wall to the point where he ends up realising if that's what marriage is going to be like for him, does he even want it at all? I feel like you don't want things to get that bad, but I know that can happen. I know things can get that bad, and it does put a man off. A man can feel pressured into feeling like they've got to propose, that they've got to get married before his future wife feels too old and doesn't want to get married. And she could blame him for not doing things sooner, even though she can propose herself. You know, it doesn't have to be a leap year. Break the rules. It's not a bad thing. If you're the proper romantic you say you are, lady, you'll propose when you want, not wait till it's the right thing. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so one more question before I move on to the next topic, because I was looking forward to this one. Someone was asking the both of them, are you even wanting to stay together? Plus, and someone else asked if they have kids, because if they've got kids that they're bringing up in their life, their kids are going to want to know if they're going to have a steady family. You know, my parents divorced when I was young, so it's when I hear that couples are still married and they've been together for a long time and they've got kids, it's nice to hear that some marriages and families do work out. I do like that. So pretty much we're going to be moving on to the next topic, which it's not going in the order that I planned because it's just we will get it done. So pretty much we will move on to the next topic. The next topic we're going to be discussing is first dates, and then we're going to move on to more expectations, 2 more expectations of what women expect men, and a couple of scenarios, and then we move on to what men expect of women. So stay tuned if you find this interesting. Before we move on, there is a question by somebody who asked it to me. They asked me a question and was hoping that I would read it for you guys here on camera. So I'm here, I'm doing it. I'm answering your question. So you asked me, which pretty much I'm going to answer it as honestly as I can. And I don't want to, I'm going to try not to offend anyone, but I'm being honest, and if you feel like some of it's offending you, then you can turn the video off, because I need to be honest, and it may offend people, it may not, but this is my honest answer of what I think. So my question was, why do women expect too much from men? And why do men put on this whole makeup and hide who they really are to please women, but women don't feel like they have to do that? They're just them, and men just have to put up with it. Now, I love that. I have these discussions with Dad all the time, and honestly, we think and view life very similar. So he will probably agree if he ends up watching this, which I'm pretty sure he's gonna watch it. So how am I gonna answer that? Oh, I am not one of those types of women who expects men to be anything or to be able to do this and that. I hate it that it makes me so angry that there are men in this world that are sensitive and care but feel they can't let it out because it's seen not man enough. It reminds me of the expression, grow some balls, be a man. Are you a man or a mouse? I don't like those sayings. I hate that so much. I'm telling you now, right now, it takes a real man to show emotion. It takes a real man to cry. It shows he cares and that he has emotion. And, you know, some men are told how they're to dress, how they should have their hair, how they should act. And men are told they have to be the one to buy the meal when it comes to going on the first date or dates in general, but it's more about first dates. They're told that it's their duty. They've got to be the one to buy the drink first. Why can't that woman say, I don't care about traditions. I want to be kind. I want to treat this man on our first date. I want to get him the first drink. And I don't mean giving him the money and saying go to the bar and get whatever. I mean I go to the bar. I buy the drinks. I show him that it's not his duty to do that. We're on a date. If I want to treat him, I'd do that. You know, the answer to your question, the reason why women expect so much, I'm putting it down to ignorance, upbringing. You know, a lot of women are still old-fashioned thinking, and it comes from their mums who had come from a life where it was seen as a man's job to open the door to let her in for a first, to stand at the side of the road. So he's protecting her in case a driver or motorist, you know, does something not clever. You know, it was seen as his job to go into the pub first, look to check it's safe before opening the door to let her in first. It's not like that anymore. We are in the 21st century, guys. And women have just got used to, I'm not carrying that, it's heavy, so the man's supposed to be strong, so he should be carrying it. I've got the hips, he's got the shoulders, so I'm not doing it and he is, and that's why, and that's final. And he's in his place and he's to do as he's told. I hate that. More men commit suicide because of women like that. Because they feel like they have to be this particular man to fit the criteria, to fit in with society and everything else that's going on. And when they feel they can't do that and they feel that they failed, not that they've let themselves down because they don't know who they are, but they've let the society down, the mum down that's probably expecting them to be this, but they don't want to be that. They want to find out who they are. And, you know, certain men drink beer because that's a man's drink, so you drink beer, isn't it? You're not supposed to drink wine. we don't care if you like it. We're telling you not to like it. We're telling you to like beer or else, because beer's a man's drink and wine is a woman's drink. You're a man, you shouldn't be drinking that. Things like that. And, you know, and it's just more the percent of suicide. It's higher with men killing themselves than women. It's a lot higher. And, you know, I am embarrassed to call myself a woman. You know, I am embarrassed because, you know, it's painted a bad name on women. It's made women look bad. Not all women are like that. There's a lot of women who are nothing like that at all. And I don't want to put every woman in the same basket just because there's a lot who have been like that and a lot who are like that. Because there are some who are nothing like that. And we need to remember that not all women are bad. Not all men are bad. And there are some good people out there. And we need to remember that. And it's so important, and that's never ever forgotten. So the next scenario is actually about first dates. And I'm going to read off a scenario that someone has written to me, and it's really interesting. And before I do, I apologise for how long this video is. I knew it was going to be a long video. So brace yourself. Get yourself your water, your cups of coffee, your tea, and just get really into it. Relax, you know, lie in your bed, lie on the sofa. Just chill. Put your candle on. There isn't one in here. Just chill. So the scenario is this woman has mentioned that I have been on a lot of dates. The exact number is 30 different dates, and I haven't yet found the right man, in capital letters, man for me. And every time I go on the dates, I feel flattered, and it feels great when the man chooses the location, the place we're going to meet at, where it is, and the time. And I drive, I have a car, but it's just easier for us to go in the same car. So I would like it if he did come and pick me up and take me there, but not on the first date. That's a bit weird. But on the third or fourth date, he should be coming to pick me up after getting to know me after a while. But on the first date, my first date, I remember it really well. I sat in my car and I waited for over an hour, and he didn't show. And I was really heartbroken, and I thought to myself, what a pig. All men are like this, aren't they? And I was so angry. I messaged him the next day saying, I'm waiting for over an hour in my car. Where were you? So he obviously is seeing all of this and was feeling all sorts of different emotions, and he replied back to her and said, but I did turn up. I also waited for over an hour. By the time I waited for so long, I didn't want to waste a nice evening, and I wasn't going to let some stand-up stop me from having a nice meal. So I ordered myself a meal and a nice bottle of wine. I enjoyed the wine, I had a nice meal, and I went home and went to bed. It's your loss. I had a good time, you had a miserable time, claiming that you were waiting for a long time. So, before I read any further, I just want to mention that what I would do if I was in their situation was message that other person and say, I've just arrived, I'm a bit early, or I've just got here, or I will be in soon, I'm just finding somewhere to park. And I'd find out where the other person is. As long as they know that you're there, then that is fine. You can, one of you, whoever's ready first, can go in, get the table, or get seated to your table if you've booked a table. Go in, sit down. Start off with getting water to start with. If you don't know the other person's order, their usual order or drink that they like, or if you know what drink they like to drink, just get them that drink. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If you're in there first, I'm one of those. If I'm in there first and I can afford to get that person a drink whilst they're just parking their car, I'm happy to do that. I'm not going to wait because I feel like it's their duty to do so. If I'm able to do it, I will do that. But that's just the kind of person I am, and that's fine. So I just wanted to say what I would do and what I thought so far. So let's continue reading. So I am reading. I took some screenshots so that I didn't have to keep trying to scroll. I can zoom in and zoom out, things like that. So the next part to this was, she said to him, "So you had a drink and had a meal without me. What a beep." I'm not going to swear because I don't swear on my channel. She basically called him a B word, a big FB word, and said to him, "Well, you can enjoy being single and I'll go on another date." Bearing in mind, remember at the beginning when I explained to this, she had already been on 30 dates and is still single and still can't find the right man. Please remember that as I read on. So she had said, "I've been sat in my car for ages. You didn't try and find me in my car and open my door for me. And then instead of, not finding out where I was to open my door for me, which was very effing rude of you, you went in, you had a wine and a meal without me and you went home. What a pig," she said, and explanation marks, quite a few of them, and she put pig in capital letters. So he had wrote back and said, "So you waited over an hour in your car just because you expected me and felt like it was my duty to open the car door for you to get out, when you've been single for a long time. You've had to open your own door for how long? And you can do everything all on your own. You're capable of doing all the DIY and all the rest of it. But wait, when you get a man in your life, all of a sudden you're not capable, but he still has to be capable." And he said to her, "Do you know what? I don't want to waste my time with a woman like you. Enjoy being single. I'm going to find somebody who doesn't expect me to do this and that. Somebody that can make me happy and love me for me and don't expect me to be this or that or do this and that." So he decided not to message any further and he didn't say anything else. But she carried on. But before I tell you what she says after this, I am going to have a coffee break because I need to drink it before it goes cold. So I'm going to drink as I talk. So let's continue to read the further that this woman says. And the cheek on her, can I say. "I've had enough of pigs, well, bloody men, they call themselves men, in this world, not treating me like the woman I deserve to be treated. I've been on 30 different dates and I still haven't found the right man. Can someone please explain to me why men have to be like that?" Now, I'm not going to read what people think. I'm going to tell you what I think. I think, I'm going to drink as I'm talking before it goes cold. I think that she's got a bloody cheek to say what she said, to think that he should, and other men should treat her like the woman she deserves to be treated. If she's not going to treat the man in a way that he deserves to be treated, why shouldn't they do to her what she won't do for them? Don't expect a man to treat you in such a way if you're not going to be so kind back. And he was so reasonable. You know, he did finally get back to her again. And I remember this, him explaining to her that he did message her a few times to say that he was waiting for her. But that wasn't good enough for her. He didn't approach her to open her door to let her out her car. And he didn't know she was there all that time until the next day. So I think how she went about that situation was disgusting. It was rude. And the fact that she still expected him to treat her like the woman she deserves to be treated after treating him so poorly, I believe is absolutely out of order. I don't like women like that. Women like that are the type of women that make me feel embarrassed about me being a woman myself. And I can't stand it. Yeah, let me know in the comments, what would you do in their shoes? How would you do it? What do you think is the right thing to do, or the thing that shouldn't have been done? Do you agree with me? Or please also comment down below if you disagree with me, because I'd be interested to know that as well. I have to heat my coffee because I've been talking for too long. So we're going to move away from what women expect from men. We're now going to discuss what men expect from women. And in my opinion, I think men and women are just as bad as each other at times. Because the same women who expect men to be this and that, well, those men, some of them expect women to be this and that. They spend all their time complaining about, oh, women expect me to be this and that. But have you ever asked yourself, men, and have other men asked you, but by the same token, do you expect that woman to be this and that yourself? Because if you do, the word hypocrite comes up in my head. Hypocrite. And I would love it if there was people in the comments that disagreed with me, just to see what you thought, because it would be really interesting. I'm going to put my coffee down there because it needs heating up again. There's only a quarter of a cup left, so it's not a massive amount, you know. So let's read another scenario, and it's going with the first, what he expects her to do and be like. So the first one and the scenario, I think we know how it works by now. So the first one is where men expect women to have the house spotless, the dinner done and on the table, so when they get in from work they can chuck their shoes off, take their coat off, get muddled in the house, sit down with their beer or coffee if they're teetotal or whatever, and expect their dinner to be done and on the table, but they expect it to be good. And after this woman he's expected to do all the housework for all day. He still thinks it's her job to cook, whether she's tired or not. And there are some still stay-at-home mums where they do still do that. Some women actually like to do that. Let's discuss this for a minute. Some women actually, they like to do the housework. I like it, but I do it because I like to do it. I don't feel like I have to do it. No one in my life is expecting me to be the one to do it. The three of us that live together, we all do it together as a threesome. Don't let that sound wrong. But no one expects the other person to feel like they've got to do a certain thing. We all do it. You know, we might have moments where we're depressed and our mental health is saying, don't tidy, because you've got no motivation. And it is a depressing subject. We will get into that at some point. So let's read a scenario. So this scenario starts off with her, actually, not him. She explains that I did started to like doing the housework and having the dinner ready for my husband because he's been working all day and I don't expect him to cook, and I used to like, you know, being the one that did that, but now it's not so fun because it happens Monday to Friday and weekends, and it's got to the point where I'm so physically and mentally tired that I don't want to do that anymore. I want it where he starts helping me, where he starts doing it himself. And I have said to him that I want to talk to him about it, where I want to explain to him that I'm tired and it would be nice once in a while if he did the washing up, or if he cooked the dinner, or did a bit of the hoovering, you know, but he had shut her out. She explains that he had said to her that it's always been her job to do that, just like it's his job to go to work, and they don't need to have the conversation. She's just to zip it and do her duty, be that woman that he married. So let's discuss it. Let's talk about this. So I think that all this should have been discussed together as a couple and thought about before getting married, because I feel like you know what you're taking on. If this is how you were for years before getting married, you should know by now that that is what your marriage is going to be like. You're going to be doing all the housework, the washing up, hoovering, etc. You're going to be the one making sure the dinner's ready. So when your future husband gets him from work, it's going to be ready for him. If that's how it's been going for years before getting married, you know what you're taking on. Yes, she did have a stage where she was enjoying it. I like doing all those things, but I don't like to do them to the point where no one else is doing it. You know, it's marriage. It is a bit of give and take. Why should she be the only one doing all the giving, him doing all the taking, but not giving back? I feel like I know that he does deep down love her, deep down she loves him, but it goes back to sitting down, talking about it over a coffee or a drink, sometimes it can turn into a couple of things, you know what I'm saying? Other times not. But I just think it does go back to talking about it. Unless you're both willing to sit down and talk about it, nothing will change. You know, nothing will come of this. You'll be stuck in this Pandora circle and you will not be able to get out of it. And you will be stuck where you were at the beginning, of where you're doing everything. And he's getting in, taking his shoes off, kicking his feet back, throwing the coat on the sofa, and you just think you spent all that time doing housework. He's brought all that mud in the house from his boots. I'm picturing, because he's explained that he's a builder, so that's what I'm picturing. He has two jobs. He's a builder and he's a trained plumber, so he does a bit of plumbing as well. Which, great, two jobs, wow. You know, and I just feel like I don't like men who expect their women to have the cooking done when they get in. You know, yes, he's been at work all day, but technically, where she's a stay-at-home mum and she's done housework all day, you could argue that she's been at work all day. Why should she cook after doing all that housework? You both need to take it in turns. And it shouldn't be one-sided where it's all just him or all just her. So I'm going to read off a couple of comments on the scenario and see what you think. So the first one is this man saying, me and my wife have been married for 30 years and this scenario has been our marriage for 30 years and we like doing that. We don't see an issue with doing that. So, like I've said, some actually are happy to live like this. You know, some people's marriage has worked for that long because that's how they've done it. Marriage is, you know, everyone has their own secrets, their own, you know, answers as to why it's worked and why it's lasted so long. And it's either, you know, being on fashion like that or it's not. It's different for everyone. And I feel like it's, like I've said and I'm repeating, it still goes back to you've got to talk about it. You know, and this next one's going to be the last one just because I'm going to be mentioning something else afterwards that could take up a fair bit of time. So the next one is where a woman is saying, I have been married for my husband for 20 years, not as long, and we have been switching it up the whole 20 years. We have it where I do the housework and washing up and cooking during the week, whilst my husband goes out to his work, which requires 12 hours each time, and I stay home and watch the kids because we can't afford to have any babysitters to look after them. So they're not old enough to be at home on their own, so I can't go back to work yet. She's explaining all that, but I completely understand. She goes on saying that, but when it comes to weekends, it's my break, it's my time off, it's his time to bond and have time with the kids. Sometimes we have time with the kids together, but then it's lockdown at the moment. They see each other all the time, and he works on a building site. He can't really work from home, and his plumbing, he will have to go in people's houses and etc. if needs be. So he's not always at home like the wife is. And so the weekends is where he does any housework that may need doing, that may not have been done in the week. And he does the washing up and the cooking. And they've been married for 20 years and that's how theirs has worked. And they like it like that. Everyone's is different. So we're going to move on to one more one more topic and one more scenario, and then I'm going to say my bit before I finish the video. So I am going to be going on to dress sense. Now, what I mean by that is there are some men in this world who expect women to dress up. I don't mean just dress up in general, but I mean to dress up for him. You know, some of them expect women to have certain jewellery on, certain makeup on, a certain hairstyle, a certain item of clothing. And if their woman ends up not wearing that particular item, he ends up not liking it, and he questions her, and, you know, he expects her to look this certain way for him to be attracted to her. But I am not a massive fan of that. I feel like it wouldn't matter to me what he looks like, or if I was a man, it wouldn't matter to me what she looks like. You know, if you love them for who they are, what they look like, how they wear something shouldn't actually matter. But to some men, it really matters. And I didn't touch upon this with women, but there are women out there who expect men to look like this and that. And if he doesn't, then he's not that type of man. He's not that man for her. That, I feel like, is the most common thing at the moment, is when a man or a woman says, I have a type. I don't like the words have a type. I don't like it. I really, really don't like it. And I will explain why right at the end, and it's coming up soon. So one of the things that I'm wanting to add to what I was just saying is you should look how you want to look. You shouldn't be afraid of looking how you want, or afraid of what he may think, because a lot of women and men feel pressured into looking a certain way in case the other sex doesn't like it. And just be you. Be who you want to be. You can be a different you every day. You could be a punk today and a rock chick tomorrow. As long as you're happy, it doesn't matter. Please. It really doesn't matter, guys. It really, really doesn't matter. That is it. You're either happy with how you are or you're not. But if you're going to do something about it, if you feel you should, it's got to be when you're ready. Not when he says so or she says so. You've got to want it yourself. Like, I know there's things about me that I need to deal with. I've got to be ready. I've got to want to do it myself. I shouldn't feel like I have to do it because other people have mentioned it. They've said they're not happy with it. It's my problem that I've got to deal with. It's got to be when I'm ready. If I don't feel ready to do it, it won't happen. If any of you out there don't feel ready to do it, it won't happen. And there is one last thing that I wanted to mention before I end this video. is I'm going to finish with a little bit about me and how I am and how I view relationships. Well, you've heard bits already, but I want to add to it. Okay, so I want to start with just learning to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, how can you learn to love someone else? And when I heard Anastasia Kingsnorth mention this on her YouTube a long time ago, that a friend of hers had mentioned this to her, it opened her eyes and made her think, do you know what? You are so right. So it's made me think, do you know what? Do I even love myself? Not as in, oh, I love myself. Oh, look at me. As in, do you know what? I might not always be the happiest, but I love who I am right now. I feel so good. The things that I've achieved, the things that I've managed to do in my life. Despite the stuff that's happened to me in my life that's been negative, I've still turned out as positive as I can be. I might not always like who I am and how I've been in my time, but do you know what? There is times in my life where I've had it so bad and hated myself and beat myself up, but there are times where I've gone, you're doing alright, you're doing good. And you need to just say to yourself, do you know what? I'm amazing. Look at all the stuff that I've achieved, whether you've had a bad time or not. You're doing so well, and you deserve to pat yourself on the back and say to yourself, I can do this. Look at me. I can still wake up in the morning, make my coffee, have my breakfast. Just for me, the hardest thing for me to do at the moment, it's going to sound the most ridiculous and the silliest thing, but I'm telling you, and I make these videos as real as I can. The hardest thing for me to do right now is brush my hair. Wash it and brush it. I washed it yesterday, so I'm good. But to just get up and give my hair a brush is really difficult, and I don't know if you can relate to that. But honestly, and sometimes even getting up and getting out of bed is a big battle. But I do that. I'm not always in the mood to do things, but sometimes I, in the nicest possible way, say to myself, get up out of bed, make that coffee, brush that hair, and get on with your day. That, to admit it to yourself before admitting it to anyone else, I've found is the hardest thing to do. But once you've done that, that hard part is over. The rest gets easier, and I promise you it really, really does. And I say that from my own experience. It's easier to give your own advice than to take it yourself. And that's always been a struggle of mine. And it's still a struggle. It hasn't gone away. It takes years and years to just get over that, and I'm still not over that. I still have that struggle today. So believe me right now when I say to you, you're not on your own. Men and women out there, you're not the only one going through it. Okay? You must never feel that it's just you going through it, because I was surprised with the number of people that had gone through very similar to me. Similar bullying, divorce, growing up from parents that are separating and then divorced. When I talk about the problems that I went through, I used to think it was just me, and then I read other stories and realised, hang on, I'm not the only one. You guys need to know that. And remember, you're still loved, you're still amazing, and just keep it up, keep going, and just stay amazing and stay you. Stay true to yourself. It doesn't matter if you're a different you each day. Just be happy that you're still getting up and getting out of bed, and you're still getting dressed and doing those simple tasks that are difficult sometimes. You're still doing it. Anyway, I love you all so much, and I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope you find the time to comment, because I'd love to read your comments and probably read them off in my next video if you want a part 2. So like and comment for a part 2, because I feel like that would be really good for my part 2 to be about this video. I'd love to do that. Anyway, I love you all so much, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Mwah. Bye!